Welcome to the Nifty Nuggets weekly news and reviews podcast show. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about the Fed's interest hikes and how that affects Web2 and Web3 space. Dragonfly Capital raising a $650 million war chest, and Yuga Labs' Other Deeds land sale and how that affected the NFT market. But before we jump into the fryer, make sure you smash the bell notification, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and leave a comment below. You can also get us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and make sure you leave that 5-star review. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at NuggetsNifty, and make sure you listen for the secret password that will be revealed at the end of the episode for your chance to win an invite into the Nifty Nuggets server. So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. So, joining me this week, we have Channing, and Channing is going to be pumped because he's got loads of crypto news to tell us about. So Channing, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Not as well as you, I can imagine, because I know you're pretty hyped about the news that we're going to be talking about this week. So yeah. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah.
Take us through the market.
Sure. Well, the news is exciting, but the price action is not doing so well at the moment. Let's have a look at the whole market. As the market cap for the whole cryptocurrency is being $1.767 trillion, which is last 24 hours, we got 7% down. That's a lot of money. And then last 24 hours trading volume is a lot. Actually, we are sitting at $122 billion. And the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance is changing again. Bitcoin dominance is at 39.3%. Actually, I think earlier today that I have seen Bitcoin dominance around 40%. And we all know what that means because we have been talking about it for the last few weeks. And I clearly remember that about 4 weeks ago, the Bitcoin dominance is down less than 38%. And then we're so excited because we think the bull market is coming back. But actually, the Bitcoin dominance is going up again, which means the investors are not so bullish on the altcoins, and they don't believe their altcoins are going to be a 100x overnight anymore. Therefore, they put their money into the Bitcoin to preserve their wealth rather than being the moon boy.
Shannon,
yes.
You mean that we're not going to be billionaires like Elon Musk overnight?
Not overnight, mate. Not overnight. But over a few years, fingers crossed. Yep. And let's have a look at the whole market is bloody red. Everything is down. Everything is down. The only thing that's not down is on my screen at least, is Binance USD, which is a stable coin. But actually, if you look at the stable coins, which is quite remarkable, in the top 11 coins on the market cap, we have 4 stable coins. We have Tether, USDT. We have USDC, which is the USD coin. We have UST from Terra Lab, and we have the Binance BUSD. This is a big signal, and we're going to talk about it later on. Let's have a look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. But before we jump in, do you want to have a educated guess about what is the Fear and Greed Index of this week?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's 2023, let's say.
Okay.
It's going to be extreme fear.
It's going to be extreme fear for sure. Yep, exactly. Let's have a look. Well, you are actually pretty close. From the 0 to 100, we're doing 22, which is exactly extreme fear. That means everybody is so fearful that the people are selling out their coins, which is actually the same correlated to what we have seen on the price action as well. And for my personal view, I think the reason behind it is because Fed has raised the interest rate by 0.5% or 0.5 percentage point, which is the biggest hike in 2 decades to fight inflation. So they finally realized that printing money is not the solution for everything, all the problems in the world. So they started to raise the interest rate. The funny that we should notice that the spider, the SP 500 has dropped a lot as well. But as the news was dropped on the 4th of May, and we can see clearly a price pump over that period of time. This is the SP 500, but we can see the same similar things on the crypto market as well. Because when we talk about crypto space, we always use the word FUD, which is FUD. The middle word U stands for uncertainty. So when people see uncertainty, they don't know how much they're going to raise the inflation. They are selling, they are fearful. But once the inflation rate, the interest rate is raised, we're certain that we know how much it's going to raise. So that's why I think it's the price pump. But then later on, it's going to come down anyway because it's a bad thing for investments because they are raising the interest rate.
So why do you think that is, Channing? And what does that look like to the normal person like you and I?
Right. Well, I think the interest rate raising means that it's harder to get a loan. You need to pay more money to your loan as well. That means the housing market and all the other investing market are going to suffer just because you don't have a lot of cash laying around for you to invest anymore. For example, if you bought a house in the last 2 years and the interest rate has been low, you only have to pay, let's say, $1,000 per month for your rent or for your loan repayment. But now, because of the raise of the interest rate, you have to pay $1,500, let's say, for example, which means you can't, if you can't afford that anymore, that means you're going to get liquidated, and then you are forced to sell your house, and that's when things becomes to get, even worse because people are selling their house, panic selling, like paper handing their houses, and then that means the housing market or all the other investments are going down. So at least that's what I think of what it is. And what that has led to us is, at least I think there's a correlation of there, the Labor Department criticizing the Fidelity's plan to put Bitcoin on 401ks menu. Of course, they are having concerns because Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies are coming down as the value. I mean, everybody was so happy when Bitcoin was around 60K mark. And here we are now around 38K. And then people are thinking, okay, we think there are concerns about people are losing their money over Bitcoin because they are investing their retirement fund into Bitcoin.
And let me just jump in there as well, Channing, because it's interesting. What pattern we tend to see is when there's, as you said, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt within, say, Web 2 and the dollar or people's currency, they tend to try and shift their money into assets that they feel is going to appreciate. Normally, that's like gold that we've seen throughout time. And now in this new kind of era, the Web3 era, that's also Bitcoin. So I'm not surprised that there's an article coming out criticizing a potential store of value other than like gold and where people would take their money out of the dollar or the pound if you're like me in the UK. So it's just interesting and quite a coincidence, the timing that this has come out.
Exactly. That's just put a we actually have a word for it in Chinese. You put the frost on top of the snow, make things extra colder. But it's called 雪上加霜. But anyways, I think you are quite right that when the market is being bad, and then there are concerns about the Bitcoins anymore. But from my point of view, I think the crypto market is quite volatile, and I think that's a good thing because you don't want to be stable all the time, because if things are stable, that means you can't make money. That volatility is what makes money, right? Otherwise, you can just buy US dollar, which was quite stable for the last 20 years, but not anymore, right? But if you
or Cardano.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like it very much. But that would not last any longer nowadays, because the financial market or the crypto market is not as what we're seeing in 2017 and 2018. Is all based on large amount of the retail investors like you and me. Nowadays, a lot of institutions who has a huge amount of funds are coming into the field every single day. This week, we have found the news that crypto-focused Dragonfly Capital launches its third fund, crypto fund, which is $650 million. That is a lot of money. And what they are doing is they are trying to jump into the crypto with this much money, but they are going to, let's be honest, this money is going to be smarter than you and me, right? Because they have a lot of
You think?
they have a lot of analysis and all that. So what they're trying to wait is for the next market dip, which I think is right now. Actually, just before we started the show, I have just seen the news that Luna Foundation Guard, LFG, just bought another bag of Bitcoin. So what it means is just a lot of capitals, a lot of funds are sitting on the sidelines that once there is an opportunity, they are going to scoop their bags. That is relating to the news I was saying in the beginning of the show. Let's have a look at the top 11 coins. On the charts, on the market cap, we have 4 stable coins. That means people are holding a lot of stable coins right now. They're sitting on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect opportunity to jump back into the crypto space, which is, for me at least, I think that's a good thing, because I don't think the market is going to be down a lot further. So even though we're seeing, that's why we said it's not like the 2017 and 2018 anymore. I don't think from where we are now, it is quite possible, right? It's still possible, but I don't think we can see another 50% drop of the price of the Bitcoin anymore from this point. It's just because how much money is sitting on the sidelines.
And one thing we say in this space, in Web3, anything is possible. Anything.
Absolutely. And another news that we have to brought to you is Solana went down again. Apparently, it went down a few times already, and that's why the price of the Solana is down a lot. This week alone is 15% in the price, and that's not surprising because their network is down and people are losing faith about their product. Because if your blockchain is decentralized enough, it should not be down at all, unless every nodes are having a same issue, same bug, and that's when the Solana network can be down, which is pretty bad for their network, because Solana is a gaming NFT, a gaming blockchain. Their transaction speed is super fast. It's actually faster than Visa card. But if they can't solve the security issue or decentralization issue, I don't know how much longer they can go or survive in this market.
It's an interesting debate, because I often argue that sometimes people who are yet to adopt the crypto and Web3, they may not be too concerned about the decentralized nature of, say, or lack of decentralization within Solana. However, one thing that can't be argued against is the fact that if you're trying to use network for microtransactions in a game or whatever it may be, and you can't actually do it, that is going to be a big problem, the biggest problem that anyone will ever face, any blockchain. So decentralization, not too sure it's going to be that massive of a factor, but network outages is an absolute killer.
Imagine you're reading a boss that for the 10th time, and then you're almost getting it done, and then all of a sudden your network got shut down. I mean, that's the whole idea behind the decentralized network, right? It's supposed to be on forever, but it's down again, which means it's pretty much on this point of view, it's the same as the traditional gaming again, without a blockchain. But
sure.
Yeah, if I keep talking, we probably will have to fight over it. So let's move on. Obviously, we have different views on that one. But let's move on. Crypto.com reduces CRO card rewards. I think this is a kind of a big deal in the whole space because they are having a lot of attention on their card. And then, to be honest, I am their card user as well. I am also a CRO token holder. So to be fully transparent, and
I hold the card too.
Oh, you hold it too?
I don't have any CRO.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't hold any CRO. Not anymore.
Right. And then that means actually this news for you then, because if you're not holding CRO anymore, that means you're not getting the reward back. But I am. So a lot of things has happened to their decisions. So they over the week they have made a lot of decisions. They lowered the rate. They put a card cap on your monthly reward. There's a lot of things are happening with your reward percentage as well, which we can link the article down below. But you can also search it. I mean, it's pretty easy to find these days. And let's have a look at the price action for the crypto.com coin, which is called Chronos right now. The last 7 days is down a whopping 26.5%. That's a quarter of this whole value. So it went down from, I think, $0.4 to $0.28 right now, which is massive. I mean, obviously, people are not happy about it because when you have to, when you get one of the cards, you have to stake it for I think 6 months. Yes, 6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
And then you're only giving up. This is not a action now thing because things will take action in a month time. But it's still 1 month to 6 months is a lot of difference. And then a lot of people are not happy about it because you promised this when I staked it, and then now you're saying or you're making another decision based on your opinion, which I think is against the Web3, the whole spirit of Web3, right?
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. That's the unfortunate side of centralization. You don't have no say in the matter, which is why lots of people feel super positive and bullish towards decentralization because we're in this position because we're fed up of being dictated to unfairly and having the goalposts move. So hopefully somebody else will be able to seize the opportunity and give users a product that they can wholeheartedly get behind.
Yeah, I agree. And then the whole argument between the Web3 and the Web2 is because the CRO coins has so much market value. It's because people like you and me who's supporting it, who's buying their coins, who's staking their tokens to secure the network, and they are making decisions without me saying yes or no, which is pretty bad. I mean, if the result came out that majority voted for yes to change the rate, everything, I'll be fine with it. But the fact that they didn't ask my opinion, because we are the people who supported them in the beginning, and then therefore we should be rewarded. So in the Web3, especially in the NFT space, reward is going to come, whereas Web3 companies like this is not going to, probably not going to last long with their decision-making things. Last news about the crypto space is the USDD, which is from the TRON Network. They are launching a USD competitor as USDD, and they are promising that they are going to give 30% of the yield for a stablecoin, which is pretty impressive. I mean, at the time of shooting, it's still not live yet, but when the news got released on Monday, it probably is released already. And I am quite curious about this, what's going to happen, because...
So, Channing,
yes.
do you think that it's going to be sustainable at 30%?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, because everybody nobody hates 30% yield, right? Especially it's on the stablecoin. But whether or not it's going to be sustainable is the biggest thing, because even for Luna, for the UST on Anchor, 19.5% is not sustainable already. And then they're saying, okay, we're going to compete with you, and then we're doing 30%. So I'm quite curious what the price action about that will be. And actually, we can have a look at the TRX tokens price action of this week. Let me just quickly find it. Yep, the TRON token for the last 7 days, it's up 23.6%, which is a lot compared to all the other coins are down 10 to 20%. So that's a lot of difference. So a lot of people are anticipating this is going to be a good thing for the whole network. But I'm not personally, I'm not going to participate in this event because I think it's going to be risky. But who knows? Let's jump into the NFT space, shall we?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
And I think everybody will know about what we're going to talk about, because there's one single biggest news in the NFT history, which is, you know the name already. But let's have a look at the price action. So we thought about we're going to the boom, bear market of NFTs, and then this happened, which was on the 16th of April, the Moonbirds launch. And everybody was like, wow, the Moonbirds is bringing the bull back. But it constantly, went down for the downtrend again, because we knew that something else is cooking that's sucking all the liquidity of the market to one thing. And we have seen a lot of blue chip NFTs were being sold very early at a cheap discount price because they want to get into this one, which is, you can announce it.
I think the other deeds land sale from Yuga Labs.
Yep. And I think it's very funny that it's called Other Deed instead of the other side. Well, actually, it's called Other Deed of the other side. But the deed is when the old days when you're buying a land, that's what you signed for, a deed. So apparently this is going to be a land sale, which has happened already. On the first day, the price action was pretty crazy. It went to about 10 ethers when it first launched, and then price dropped down a lot. And if I just open the activities tab on the Opensea, we can see these huge roller coasting lines, curves sitting around. So at one point it was right now the floor price is 3.5 ethers, which I think is crazy because it's below the average floor price, in my opinion. Because to mint one of these things, you need around 2.5 ether worth of the ape coin, which actually is 305 ape coins. And you need to have around 2 to 2.5 ethers of the gas fee as well. Because if you pay less, that means your gas is probably going to be lost in the void. And actually, I have a friend who tried to ape into this ape land. He thought 1.5 ethers of gas would be sufficient. And then he submitted the transaction request on the blockchain. And then guess what happened? He got all the funds lost in the void. He didn't get anything back.
Yeah, and speaking of that your friend's not the only person where that happened to. However, I do know that Yuga Labs were in the process of issuing refunds for people who suffered that lost transaction fee, which I think for me is both a good thing and maybe a little bit of self-preservation behind the motivation, because nobody would want their brand to be associated with a massive drain on funds, like normal people's funds, or liquidity, as we would call it, through lost transactions, because there's nothing worse than paying thousands of dollars or pounds for nothing, literally for nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a nice touch that they've reached out and issued refunds, because quite frankly, most people that would have got involved in this other deeds land sale would know the risks associated to it. So just for the listeners out there, there isn't always going to be someone that's going to bail you out for your decision. So as always, make sure you do your own research, be wary of super like hyped projects and gas wars, as we call it, because you don't want to be left holding an empty bag.
Did you participate at all for the ApeCoin and the land sale?
Oh, I didn't. So basically, what was going to happen, I was speaking to you last week about this. I was looking to potentially swing trade the ApeCoin, and basically what that means is looking to buy ApeCoin before the major hype started leading up towards the mint, and then sell it for a profit. But normally with swing traded, you then buy the dip to then try and rinse and repeat. But I opted out of that because I looked at the ApeCoin, and at the time it was like $18. The market cap was 5 billion. And then for it to like 2x would put it at 10 billion market cap, which is the same market cap as Polygon Network. So I just thought to myself, how is a coin for an NFT related project going to be worth the same as the market cap of our entire blockchain that runs games on it, and so on and so forth? So I completely opted out of it. And unfortunately, I know of some people, like my friends in the Web3 space, that liquidated their NFTs and in anticipation of getting involved in the land sale, and then they ended up with no land, basically. So speaking to them, they're left with, at the time, they were left with no land, no ETH through to the lost transaction, and no NFTs. So that's what I mean by holding an empty bag. And this refund has kind of cushioned the blow somewhat. But if you've sold an NFT that you felt pretty confident about, and this has happened to you, you can't help but be disappointed. So once again, not financial advice, of course, but try not to put all your eggs in one basket, and don't overexpose yourself to one particular thing, you know?
I think what you said is very, very nice. I actually want to add on to reiterate what you just said, because what I hear from your voice is there's no FOMO into this land sale. I mean, everybody knows about this ApeCoin and the land sale already. Everybody thought so. It played almost exactly like what we anticipated. At the time of shooting the last week's video, it was $18. And then we know, certainly, almost certain that the price was going to go up. It actually went to $28 at one point. And then we also said about after the land sale, the ApeCoin is going to drop down. So at the time of the shooting this video, I think it's around $15 or so. Actually $13 now. But but even though for you and me, we're so certain about it, we did not participate into this action because we think there is always risks involved in this one. And then for you, probably you think the risk and return ratio is not worth it. So even though you think you thought you could make money out of it, you did not participate. So that is a completely opposite to FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So a lot of people are participating in this land sale. They thought this is going to be a life-changing event that's going to make them 1,000 times or 100x overnight. So that's why they ape into this land, just hoping to get that life-changing event. But reality is you're not getting rich overnight. Like that's just impossible. And then for my friend who has got that the aped in, he thought 1.5 ethers, which was a lot for him, put into the ether transaction for the gas fee, just for the gas fee alone. And he did not win the gas war. And then that's why he lost all the money. Lucky that he got refunded, quote, refunded by Yuga Lab, because theoretically, I don't think that should be called a refund, because Yuga Lab did not take the money. It was the miners of the Ethereum who took the money. So I think it's quite respectable that Yuga Lab is so-called refunding the money, which is giving back the ethers which were lost in the gas war. But 100%. It is not something that you should be expecting on the daily basis.
Precisely. And I just want to add on to that. I always liken NFTs to mega super high stakes gambling, because you would ape in expecting these super returns. And don't get me wrong, there have been some super returns, because what happened during the mint, there was some news that broke saying that there was these, for lack of a better word, avatars associated to the lands, and they're called coders. And then you would see that there was like a pump for the ones that had these coders on their land, and obviously a dump for the ones that didn't. And Channing, if you just take us through some of the prices, I mean, I can just see one there. One was sold for 333 Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is, no matter who you are, that's life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
So it can happen, but it's very, 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 very unlikely.
Yep. It's not too much better than the lottery anyway, for my opinion. And then a lot of people who don't have the quotas on their land, the price has dropped nearly half from its peak, or actually more than half from its peak already. Because if you think about the floor price, I mentioned just earlier, I think 6 ethers should be the floor price, because to participate in, you need to around 2 ethers to 2.5 ETH of the ApeCoin to mint, and you need 2 to 2.5 ethers of the gas fee to actually get the land, and which means that's like 5.5 already, 5 to 5.5 ethers already. But if you sell, there's a royalty fee in the NFTs as well, which means a certain percentage of the fund is going to give back to the creator of the NFT. For this instance, I think was around 10 to 12% of the royalty fee plus the Opensea charge, which means that if you bought it with 5.5 ethers, you have to list it more than 6 ethers to actually make it break even. So that's why I said 6 ethers should be the floor price, but apparently the floor has been wrecked. We are in a very fearful of time for both cryptos and NFT spaces. People are moving out, people are undercutting each other. So this is certainly unreasonable price right now, 3.49. But me personally, I wouldn't get one of these at this time, just because I don't like the total supply of the items, which is, if you have a look at it, 97.4 thousand of the lands, which is a big amount of total supply, which means that the market cap is pretty big. So if you want to make a quick 2x, I probably wouldn't look at these ones as of now. But of course, it's only my opinion, not a financial advice.
For sure. And I think with that probably brings us towards the end of the show. But before we go, we have the secret password that we have to deliver. So, nice. Shannon, if you'd like to do the honors for us.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring the nugget blinder out again. I kind of looked forward to it.
Yeah, good old Nuggy Blinder. Well, this week we don't have a winner to pick, do we? So I think we can just go straight into the actual question.
Okay.
For us.
Yep, that works for me. So in the event of the other date for Otherside, the ApeCoin land sale, there was one character that is appearing onto some of the NFTs, which decides basically if the NFT is pumping or dumping. So if you know which character or avatar it is, leave a comment below and we will choose one of the lucky winners to send out an invite to the Nuggets view, which is the Nifty Nuggets server. And you have to be subscribed and liking our video to participate as well. Just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, because some people were ineligible for the last video, from the last video, because they weren't subscribed. So you know what to do, folks. Make sure you, as always, hit the bell notification so you know when the next episode drops. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos and the podcast, of course. Leave a comment below. When you do listen to us on the podcast, either Apple or Spotify, make sure you leave the 5-star review and follow us at Nuggets Nifty. However, from myself and Channing, I think it's going to be goodbye. So until next week, folks.
I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yes. Stay crispy.
Stay crispy.